guys, Anna here. Welcome back to Builds with Anna. Today we are in the world of Willow Creek and we are building a starter home. Now this starter home is a little bit different to the starter homes that I usually build for many reasons. So number one, this is a 2-story starter home. It's a 2-bedroom and kind of a 1.5 bathroom. So the upstairs bathroom just has a toilet and a sink. But it's definitely a house that it can be expanded upon. And I think that's really awesome. And I've really enjoyed kind of conceptually how this house turned out. So I don't normally do a 2-story starter home. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of a challenge there today with just 20,000 simoleons. So yeah, as you can see, if we get into the build, here we are. This is basically the shape of the shell. And it's, we're just playing around with porches. I don't end up keeping this porch actually. So this is a house where I remember when I did. So if you've watched my top 5 tips for improving builds, I actually do mention to use a porch, but I did mention in that video that there are times where you don't need to use a porch and it can actually be quite pretty. And I think this house is one of those houses where it looks appealing without a porch. So I thought that'd be good today to demonstrate. Yes, I gave that tip, but here's an example of how it can look without the porch. Alrighty, I'm just deleting it here as you can see. We then move into landscaping, I believe. And the landscaping in the build is extremely important. When you do starter homes and you have a limited budget, debug landscaping and using terrain paint and potentially terrain manipulation and what have you, they are things that really can elevate your build without spending any money, without, affecting the price. So with a budget restricted build like we've got here, I really wanted to go a little bit overboard with the landscaping. So you'll see I do very much use, just a few flowers and plants and just kind of size them up and down, change the color and just really do a lot of precise placement in order to just kind of give variability in how my landscaping looks. As you can see, we're just getting into it now. And I really do just open up the debug menu and just play around. Now, this particular build, I believe, is base game only. So it's a base game only build. It's under 20k. And yeah, so the sims that I envision living here is, so you've just got a couple and maybe they are new to Willow Creek. So potentially they might have moved to Willow Creek from another area. They're new in town and they just needed a starter home. They just needed a home where, to start their family out. And they've got a child, so they've got a daughter, who, as I said, a child or a toddler? I believe, she's a child. Definitely a child. Yeah, definitely a child. And so they've moved with their daughter and she's got a bedroom and they've tried to essentially, you can see that the money has definitely gone into making sure that their daughter still had toys and still had things that allow her to, enjoy her childhood. But the rest of the house, you can definitely see areas where there are bigger gaps. Maybe potentially instead of having a really well furnished parents' room, they decided to allocate the money in other places of the home. And I feel like that's a very realistic thing as well, that, maybe when you are starting out, you do spend money in some areas, but not so much in other areas. And I think that's a very kind of realistic way to look at it as well. So yeah, they're new to town and it still looks very homely, very standard suburban home-esque. It doesn't really look nothing too out of the ordinary. I do put a car because, as I said, it had the space. So we're really just utilizing the landscape because it's not a huge house. And this lot is actually quite big. So this is actually one of the lots in the Willow Creek starter home kind of street area. And I thought that I really love this lot. I'd use it all the time for my family homes. It's a good size lot. And for a starter home like this, it actually probably is a little bit big. So I was able to just clutter it with landscaping, which did help a lot. All right, so we are finally inside, and I start off with the staircase because when you have a two-story build that potentially the house is not as big, it's very important to start with those stairs because that becomes a conversation of functionality. You know, those stairs have to be functional. So there is probably limited places where those stairs can go. And that was definitely the case in this home here. So I did struggle with the floor plan. As you can see, I have drawn and deleted a couple of walls. I did keep a little bit of that editing in there just to try to convey that I was potentially having a little bit of issues. And then upstairs, we've got that little tiny square in the corner. That's for your half bath. So that's got your toilet and your sink. And then I do end up shortening the kids' room on the this side, and then I make like a hallway with an office at the end. So this was the part where I realized that how am I going to fit a main bedroom in this house, because I need to fit a double bed for the parents' room, and that's when I really had to re-alter the floor plan, and I decided to do it this way. Now, the reason I do diagonal walls in the way that I have is because diagonal walls allow you to shape the hallway. So when you have it boxed off in like a square, it's more constricting. Whilst if you use a diagonal wall, it flows. The room kind of flows, and that's kind of sometimes why I use a diagonal wall like I have in the corner of that master bedroom, so that from the staircase it flows into the hallways of the living areas. Okay, speaking about living areas, we are moving into the kitchen. This is a very basic kitchen. It really, it's just very similar to a lot of the other kitchens that I've been doing lately. So no difference there. I use those cabinets in that color just because it kind of matched well with the flooring, which I thought was quite nice. And then we just do a small-ish living area by the entrance of the house. I really love something about putting a sofa by the staircase. It just looks so nice to me. And yeah, so we went with that in the end. I did change the colors of the cabinetry and the chairs in the kitchen just because with the color of thirds, I want to match that wood tone. And I think it looks quite complementary with the blue. All right, so here I am upstairs and we're in her room and we're just cluttering it up. I tried to really at this point use things that were limiting in funds. I didn't want to spend too much money, but I wanted her to have objects that would be useful for a child because, as I said, maybe potentially this family were prioritizing that because this master bedroom is probably the most poorly decorated room I've ever built. And I kept it in there and I kept it like that because I wanted to convey that I wanted to convey the fact that I was having trouble with money. And you know I was having trouble with money because I had to use that trash can as opposed to the standard wheelie bin that we would normally use. In another attempt to kind of reduce the funds, I did go around and I removed all of the blind shutters from the lower story, the ground floor, sorry. That also gave me a bit of money. And then I got really stuck with this outside. This is such a massive backyard and I just really didn't have the funds. So I thought, oh, I'll do a little paved area, faux pay area. I could afford to do a little barbecue and a chair and what have you, but that was about it. There's not a lot going out there. We do go in the back and we do put a tree and some more landscaping, so that does fill up the space. But I'm really now part of the decorating process where I'm simply seeing what I can afford. I'm placing an item, deleting an item, placing an item, deleting an item, and I'm really just playing on what can I add. So I hate to say it, but that's pretty much the master bedroom. That's what we're dealing with today. It doesn't look as furnished as I would like it, but I really struggled with money for this build. It was very tight, but it has everything you need. Like it's got what you need, and I think that I still managed to get a computer in this build. We've got a TV, we've got a full kitchen, you know, a full bathroom, 2 bathrooms might I add, and I just thought that was a good attempt. So I was in debug and I was just playing around, just seeing what I could add. And I thought, why not add those, those wine, the oil bottle and the glass and what have you. Just it just kind of fills the space, like just made the house look a little bit more furnished for a cheap price. And then I found these stepping stones, and I thought these would be kind of cute to line that page area as well. And then because the nightstand in the master bedroom was one of these produce crates, I thought, I don't know, maybe we'll put a produce crate outside. I was really, really grasping at straws here. I really was trying to think, what can I add to kind of furnish this? Because I was running out of simoleons. At this point, I'm at 19,895 is the value of the property here. So we don't have a lot left. So yeah, just basically anything in debug that I can get free. These blue lay-lowing flowers are beautiful. I have never seen these. They must have been hidden in the debug menu, but now that I have discovered them, I'm obsessed. So I went around with those, and I believe that that is one of the final touches I do have on this house. And yeah, we are just adding the final touches. I do line this paving area. I thought it was cute. As you can see, it's furnished, but there's definitely room for expansion. Like this sim could easily go back and they could install a swimming pool. They could install some children's play area. They could put some more gardening if they wanted to. Inside, they could furnish the master bedroom properly. They could redesign the upstairs and add an extra bedroom. Like all of those things can be done in this house. It's got that room for expansion. Talking about the house, we are now in the tour. Now, I forgot that I didn't have my immaculate shelves. And I thought that that'd be nice just to add some shelving in this hallway because it needed something. It needed something. And I remember at this point, I was like, what can I afford? And I think the plant was the last thing that I could afford. That brought us to 20,000 simoleons. And yeah, so I believe we're just finishing up here. Maybe there's a bit of terrain paint, but that is the build today. I hope you enjoyed today's build, and I hope that it inspires you to build your own starter home. Let me know. I'm over on Twitter at Anna_Corner418. Tag me, send me some photos of the builds that you create, and yeah, I'd love to see what you come up with. With that, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.